Hello. Today we are joined by Officer Julian Bone. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And so, of course, with the incident that happened in Minnesota, I'm pretty sure that you've seen the video where a Minnesota woman by the name of Renee Nicole McClin Good. She was fatally wounded by a ICE agent. What are your initial thoughts?
Sadness. Um, it seems as if being a law enforcement officer, being a police officer, um, been one for 12 years, going on 13, be 13 in April. Um, it just seems that just as we kind of get the people's trust going, somebody goes and does something like this. And what happens, civilians don't separate um, the agencies. They just see law enforcement and they say a broad stroke across the board. That's what law enforcement does. They shoot first, ask questions later. So it's sadness, it's grief for the young lady, her family, and for the law enforcement community.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, she claims that it was self-defense and that the officer was doing exactly as he was trained. I know here in Colorado, we have a program called CIT, which stands for Crisis Intervention Team Training, and that would have prevented this from happening. Um, According to you, did the officer do exactly as what he was trained to do?
Now, I can't speak to his training. My training, and I want to say the agencies I've been a part of, you don't stand in front of the vehicle. You don't put yourself in harm's way like that on a traffic stop. That's why you see officers approach from the side. You don't see officers on the freeway standing in front of a car writing a ticket because it's dangerous. You don't know what the person is going to do. So you don't stand there. So from a tactical standpoint, from where I've been trained, no, that's not what you're supposed to do.
So the self-defense claim, it doesn't hold up for you.
It doesn't hold up, but I don't expect him to be prosecuted or even reprimanded for it because he stood in front of the vehicle. They told her to stop. She didn't. She took off. Was he in danger? Could he have gotten out the way? He could have gotten out the way. He got out the way, actually. And they could have caught her at a later time. But to stand there in a car coming at you, I mean, there are things we can do and things we shouldn't do. That was a shouldn't do situation. That was a let's, we could catch her later. We have enough officers. We can catch her later if it was that big of a deal. But no, this is, as I'm watching my words, this is what you shouldn't do, but could do. So self-defense, hey, a vehicle's coming at me. I'm quite sure in his standard operating procedure, it says, hey, when a vehicle's coming at you, excuse me, that's deadly force. So you can do that. So he kind of, it's kind of like baiting, you know, if you know that, hey, this vehicle comes at me at 5 miles an hour, It's deadly force, and guess what? I get to shoot.
Mm,
So I think he put himself in that situation so he can have that reaction, so he
mm.
can react that way. That's what I believe, because no one and no officer that has been trained that I've worked with would stand in front of a vehicle and hope for the best.
What do you say about claims that she should have just complied?
Well, that's always a shoulda, woulda, coulda. Complied, and if you follow um, ICE tactics, you disappear. You get arrested. You're gone. You wake up in the matrix somewhere. You don't. So you have fight and flight type of thing. If they arrest me, I don't get a trial. I don't get any due process. I'm just shipped somewhere, put in detention center, never to see my family again. So her reaction probably would have been different if it had been the Minnesota State Police. Minnesota State Police, you're like, okay, all right, take me to jail. I get the bond out and all that other stuff. ICE, no due process. They're gonna kidnap me and put me somewhere. My family's not gonna hear from me again. Let me get out of here. So for those who say that she should have stopped, to her, it would have ended up the same way, but maybe longer. She's held in the detention center until she dies or she gets shot on site. But there's no due process with ICE, and everybody knows that. So it was a fight or flight thing, and she took off. You can say that about everybody. There's been situations where I've been on a traffic stop where people have taken off,
Mm,
and it's like, wow. And then you catch up to them later on. It's like, hey, man, why didn't you just stop? Now you have these list of charges. Now you're going to jail. And all you would have gotten was suspended. You're driving suspended. Maybe your car gets towed, or maybe you get an extra ticket or something else like that. But now you get to go to jail. But that person knows that they get due process. So it didn't have to go down that way. We all could have said, hey, we all say, hey, stop. You could have stopped. You could have. But as a police officer, as a law enforcement officer, it's our job to say, what if this person doesn't stop? And what is the best case scenario so all involved can go home to their families? That's what you have to think about. That's what I think about. And that officer didn't think about that at all.
mm. So, her being a white woman, you believe that she would have had these thoughts that ICE would have detained her and she would have never seen her family again?
It's ICE.
Mm,
I don't think you. I, I'm running for ICE if ICE pulls me over and I'm in a squad car. Now I'm not risking it. I'll be in my squad car. If ICE surrounds me, I might have to because they don't follow the same rules. That due process is huge. Having your day in court, that's huge. So you have people that have no rules. They just take you from the car to the jail, no charges or anything. You don't see your family. I don't even know if they get a phone call. From what I'm here, they don't even get a phone call. They just go somewhere. So you just dropped in a hole on Earth somewhere. So why? Just tell me what does a person think? White, black, green? It doesn't matter. ICE is coming for you. You either live your life in a hole somewhere for the rest of your days, or you can risk it and hope that you get away. So that's it. That's how they've put themselves at. Like I said, it had it been the state police or the local municipality, she probably would have rolled down the window and pointed her finger and said, "You guys are wrong. You guys shouldn't be here."
mhm.
But she's with she was. going against big bad ice. No rules, no regulations, just guns and do what you like.
So, speaking of fight or flight, there is a narrative that uh, at a split second, um, you have to assess the situation. You may not think clearly. Do you believe that that was the thought process of this officer?
We're trained in patience. That's why we have something called verbal command. Um, Even when we go through a shoot, don't shoot training scenario where a person could have a gun, maybe not. They could have a weapon, and you have to make up your mind when they make their movement. Is this uh, a good shoot? Am I right? You have to make up your mind. My reaction to somebody driving a car at me in his situation is get out the way. He did more than get out the way. He thought, get out the way, shoot. So this wasn't fight or flight. This was plan.
Mm,
If she puts that car in drive, I'm going to shoot
mm,
because I've been in a situation where I've been on the side of the car and the person took off. Let's see
mm,
how I said I'm on the side of the car. I've been in a situation where somebody had committed a couple of shootings in my city and they landed in my jurisdiction and they were being chased and I cut them off because I knew where they were coming. They were going to end up in the neighborhood. It was one way out of the neighborhood. And I said, I'm going to get here and I'm going to park my car this way. And sure enough, that car came around the corner. I had my gun drawn and the car is coming at me. It's trying to get away from other officers. So you hear the engine. I drew my weapon. Car stops. I give verbal commands. Hey, hands up. Put the car in park. Hands up. I'm telling them. Now I know there's a shooter in the car. I still haven't fired my weapon. And I'm still telling them, get out the hands up. Hands up. Because I'm waiting for them to comply. After 3 or 4 minutes of talking, because they weren't coming at me anymore, okay, we get to arrest 4 people instead of planning 4 funerals
mm,
or me having to do paperwork. You get a chance to think before you fire your weapon.
mm,
It's not like you hit your knee on the side of the bed and say, damn. No,
mm,
it's not a knee jerk reaction. It's a, this is what I'm going to do reaction. I've
mm,
been in situations where I've told a young man, put the gun down, put the gun down, put the gun down. But he wouldn't listen. He wouldn't listen.
mm.
Fourth time, I told him, if you do not put the gun down, you will see Jesus the next time you open your eyes. He decided to put the gun down. We have time when you're on a traffic stop to stop. You literally stop time. Whatever you could do in that time to make sure that all parties leave home safely is what you do. But that was a rush plan. He
Mm.
knew he could get out the way, and that's what he did. But he got out the way and fired.
Yeah, it seems like the victim can be seen actually after she backs up. When she moves forward, she actually turns the car to avoid the police officer, and the police officer still shoots. And so you mentioned that he had to have this already in mind that he was going to shoot if she were to move. So would this be premeditated?
I will 100% say it's premeditated. Why else would you stand in front of a car and wait to see what happens? You can approach from the same side as the other officer did that was pulling on the door. You can approach from that side. You don't have to put yourself in that. And but he wasn't right. He wasn't center of the car. He wasn't center. Right down the middle.
Hmm.
He was off to the side, the driver's side. So he gave himself enough reaction distance to get out the way. He wasn't standing bumper to bumper with the car. He gave himself enough reaction time to get out the way. So if you can get out the way, why not? Why not go after them another way? And you think, well, it got in the way. It could have been a high speed chase, the weather condition. Okay, she gets away. All she did was park in the middle of the street.
Hmm.
She's a protester. We're not talking about somebody that, I don't know, stole Legos. I don't know. There's other crimes. There are bigger crimes that people could have committed that just say,
Hmm.
hey, we got to get them now. We're talking about a person that parked in the middle of the street protest.
Right.
They,
And
they get away. They get away. They're on the icy road, whatever. They get away. This is not the head of a cartel or anything else like that.
mhm,
This isn't a drug dealer that you've been after for years. This is a protester in a minivan in the middle of the street. They get away, they get away. You get the tag, you get a warrant later on for their arrest for fleeing and eluding. But
mhm,
there's the thing. Due process. To do a warrant, you have to have due process.
mhm,
You're not functioning in due process mindset. You do as I say, do it now type of thing. So he had enough time to get out the way and make a complete responsible decision, and he did not. So do I believe premeditated? Absolutely,
mhm.
absolutely.
Now, you've been in court cases, and right now, it seems as if MAGA is trying to flip this, not only that it was self-defense, I believe it just didn't stick, self-defense didn't stick. Um, I believe that her actually trying to interfere with ICE operations didn't stick. Now they are framing her as a person who had a wife and she had a 6-year-old child from a previous marriage. It seems as if they are trying to demonize her as she seems to be bisexual. Do you believe that the court of law will be on her side?
Like I said, I don't think he's going to be prosecuted. I don't think he's going to be reprimanded. Um, he might get an accommodation for his actions based off of the political climate we're in right now.
Hmm.
That's just it. Unfortunately, that's good. Justice, justice. I don't see justice coming for her. I mean, there's been countless uh, things from ICE where hey, ICE did this, and it's like, well, that's ICE. ICE chased down a little boy running out of Walgreens and threw him on the ground.
Mm.
He ran from you. Mm-hmm. He ran from you. Yeah. What? Thought it was suspicious. What?
Hmm.
There's just so much that they have done and gotten away with. and applauded for. That this is just, you had to see this coming, but they're not going to discipline him, because to discipline him would be to discipline everybody. So, like I said, he might get an accommodation behind it. I didn't see any officers showing remorse on the scene.
Hmm.
Nobody said, "What did you do?" Hey, man, what was that about? None of that. None of that. They just went to the car like, and she got into an accident. It's like there was no regard for what if I shoot into this car? She has an accident and kills somebody. That wasn't even thought about. It was just, oh, my life is in danger. Let me shoot, even though you got out the way. So the
And
demon, and to your point, I'm sorry, I got off the topic. Demonizing her, that's something that is done when you're trying to paint a narrative about somebody. And the thing is, it doesn't matter when there's due process and you're actually covered under the Constitution and you're working with the Constitution. It doesn't matter what your personal life is. We're sworn to protect and serve. We're here to protect you, even the ones that run from us. We're here to protect you. Once we catch you, it's over. It's not personal. So you can put, whatever she did, does it make it right to kill somebody?
the face of the alleged murderer
Hmm.
has been shown,
Hmm.
but he has not been identified. Do you have any reasons as to why he hasn't been identified yet?
Being protected. That's all. Just being protected. They don't want people to start showing up at his house, start threatening his family, his kids, and his way of life. They don't want that to happen, so they won't release his name to protect him, which is odd. It is irony or whatever. They're thinking about his life, but he wasn't thinking about Miss Good's life.
Right.
Thinking about his kids' life. They weren't. He wasn't thinking about Miss Good's kids when he got out the way and shot. He wasn't thinking about her. He wasn't thinking about anything but making a point, in my opinion.
Hmm.
And his opinion is that my opinion is, hey, we're ICE. How dare you? We're going to show you. So that's what it is. So yeah, he demonize people. Some people fall for it and play like, okay, well, that, and others that think clearly, think with a human heart, will understand that that has nothing to do with anything.
On another matter of intent, after the victim ran into the parked car, um, there were actual people who actually saw to her, tried to revive her. According to reports, they were um, they were threatened by ICE. Uh,
Wow.
is that even more of evidence that this was premeditated, that they had no want to protect her life?
Um, that goes to the heartlessness of the agent, because we're trained that even if we shoot somebody that's shooting at us, to render aid. So if
Mm.
you shoot at me and I shoot back and I hit you and you're down, I have to bring out my medical bag, apply pressure, call for the ambulance, and hey, got a gunshot wound to the upper shoulder, um, code three. I had to make sure, because I'm functioning within the Constitution, then my standard operating procedure and due process, because there's civil liability that comes on it, that you say, hey, this officer did not render aid. Therefore, my daughter, my son, my husband lost his arm or he died. Why didn't you render aid, Officer Bone? Can't say because he shot at me.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're trained that to get shot at and return fire and then render aid.
Mm.
So the fact that they didn't render aid speaks to the coldness and the lack of humanity
Mm-hmm.
in them.